welcome all our viewers to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch here at the FMDQ studios in Lagos.
And I am Grace Agbarago. It's Wednesday, the 14th of January. We thank you for joining us at this time on the show.
All right, let's begin with your news now. Eswatini has announced the issuance of government bonds with fixed coupon rates of 10.50%, 11%, 11.50%, and 12%. The bonds totaling 200 million Swaziland will be auctioned on January 28, 2026 using a competitive multiple bid auction model. The offer is open to the public, including individual, corporate, and institutional investors, with applications to be submitted through the country's 4 primary dealer commercial banks. Meanwhile, Africa is emerging as a key supplier of critical minerals for the global energy transition, according to the African Energy Chamber's State of African Energy 2026 Outlook. The continent holds major reserves of cobalt, lithium, copper, and platinum group metals, led by the DRC in cobalt and Zimbabwe in lithium, with demand expected to rise sharply by 2035. The report notes strong US, EU, and Chinese interest backed by investments in mining, refining, and infrastructure, positioning Africa's mineral wealth as a strategic driver of industrialization and job creation. Towards green growth for a resilient Africa, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa took part in a fireside chat in Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, sharing his vision for global energy and Africa's strategic minerals. The president highlighted the continent's role in the energy transition and the need to add value locally. Let's take a listen.
Well, in the face of having to take action on climate change, we needed to lift our gaze beyond the horizon and ask ourselves, what do we do in the face of having to address the damage to our climate and the emissions? And by the way, one should start off by saying the African continent is least responsible for the climate damage, and yet we are having to carry the burden of what other locales in the world have done to climate change. Notwithstanding that, we decided that we now need to put our best foot forward and find solutions, and the solutions we came up with was to mobilize international funding, and fortunately we were able to mobilize $1.5 billion to be invested in South Africa. But that whole process was based on our own design.
Right.
We did not have it imposed on us. We did not have, if you like, Western powers or Western economies imposing solutions on us. It was nationally designed, and we then put it forward to those who could provide finance. And it then came up with a number of advantages. One of the advantages was we were able to raise finance smartly. We were able to raise fairly good blended finance initiatives, grants, concessional funding. So the blended finance architecture was quite good and was innovative. And we should say that we were first from the starting blocks. And we're very pleased that a number of other countries in the global south have followed in the wake of what South Africa did.
Foreign exchange earnings rose to $16.2 billion in 2025 from $13.3 billion in 2024, driven mainly by record gold prices, according to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Forex reserves have increased to $1.2 billion, enough to cover about 1.5 months of imports, while gold reserves climbed to 4 tons from 2.6 tons in December 2024, following a law requiring miners to pay part of royalties in physical gold. The Reserve Bank said it has injected $1.34 billion into the market since April 2024 to support the ZiG currency. Still in the region, South Africa has been removed from the European Union's list of high-risk third country jurisdictions following its exit from the FATF grey list in 2025. The move follows strengthening measures against money laundering and terrorism financing. National Treasury said removal from the EU list will reduce cost and complexity for banks and businesses, making cross-border transactions, trade, and investment with Europe easier. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has unveiled plans for a $2 billion climate fund, signaling a strong push towards green finance to support Nigeria's energy transition. Speaking at the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit, the president said strong demand for Nigeria's green bond shows growing investor confidence. Here are excerpts.
Nigeria feels out as an unwanted body, but a developmental opportunity. It is in this spirit that Nigeria has launched a climate and green industrialization investment playbook to unlock 25 to $30 billion annually in climate finance. The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority has launched a $500 million distributed renewable energy fund, while the World Bank is implementing the $750 million there programs, which will expand clean electricity access to power to over 17.5 million people. We are deepening access to green finance. Our climate investment platform targets $500 million for climate resilient infrastructure, while our National Climate Change Fund aims for a $2 billion capitalization.
Finally, on news now, Egypt's tax authority has announced a second package of tax facilitation measures to support economic activity and simplify the tax system. The package reduces VAT on medical devices to 5%, fully exempts impute for kidney dialysis equipment, and extends the suspension period for VAT on industrial machinery and medical devices to up to 4 years. Additional measures include VAT exemption on services for goods in transit under customs supervision and the imposition of the standard 14% VAT on soap and industrial detergents to align with international best practices. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now this Wednesday. The show returns shortly with Grace, giving us our market updates at the FMDQ Archives Room. Stick around.
We are, as you know, we are Pan-African. It's in our DNA. It's the DNA of householding of our parent group. And our investment thesis is even named after Africa, Africa capitalism. But you know, I can't talk about deals or things that are in motion. I think what I can tell you is that the way we have come today to make an announcement on the second pillar, on flares elimination, I think let's watch this space. We think we would have some announcements to make on the third pillar in the coming months, year 2026. And then for Africa, I think that I have to say, wait, you'll be one of the very first to know. But you should know that we are very active. We've met in a number of the locations in Africa as we are trying to play out and build our Africa playbook. But take that aside, we are looking, and this today is just an indication that we are looking to be impactful in energy, in Nigeria and in Africa.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for updates on how the markets wrapped up today. Hello there, Grace.
Thank you, Melissa. Let's now walk through how the markets traded today. Starting off with the equities as usual. The Nigerian Stock Exchange extended its gains by 0.56%, rising to 166,771.95 points, while the BRVM edged higher by 0.19%. The Nairobi Securities Exchange inched up 0.09% to 192.85. In South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange was largely flat, slipping just 0.01%. And in North Africa, Egypt's EGX30 dropped sharply by 1.43%, while Morocco's MASI declined 0.69%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The rand firmed slightly, up 0.05% to 16.39 against the US dollar. The Egyptian pound weakened 0.49% to 47.34, while the CFA franc softened 0.12% to 563.19. The Kenyan shilling was flat at 128.99. The Moroccan dirham eased 0.16% to 9.22, while the Naira strengthened 0.08% to 1,422 Naira 19 kobo as at 13:12 GMT. Now let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude rose 1.10% to $66.19, while US WTI gained 1.08% to $61.81. Natural gas slumped 4.12% to $3.27, while Arabian gasoline edged up 0.16% to $1.82 as at 13:04 GMT. Now, finally, two metals prices. Gold climbed 0.98% to $4,644.20, while copper advanced 0.88% to $6.06. Platinum jumped 3.15% Aluminium edged up 0.09%. And iron ore slipped 0.32% to $107.90 as at 13:06 GMT. And that's how money moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those market updates. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From me and the rest of the team here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you very much for watching and bye for now.